got a chance to see the Paramount Plus show 1923 starring Harrison Ford and Hellen Mirren. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zanka. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, we're going to talk about both seasons of 1923. I'm going to do very, very mild spoilers here, so it's not going to ruin the show for you in any way, shape, or form. Before we get into it, remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you can. And if you can't subscribe to the channel, please do. Ring that bell, ding, ding, and share this out there as well for people that have not seen the show yet. Also, I am a writer, so if you'd like to check anything out that I've written, you can go to Amazon.com and just put my name into there, and you'll see my sci-fi quadrilogy, Destiny Aurora, that was turned into a board game, an RPG, and a graphic novel so far. And because we're going to talk about that in a second here, too. And my fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor, the Iron Witch. There's also a Holocaust biography on there called Escape from Berlin. And a horror Sixth Sense type novel ghost story called The Awakening. I am working on a new book as well, and I am working on a new comic called Fairy Tales of Terror that we're going to be launching shortly on Kickstarter. But anyway, let's jump into 1923. This is a prequel to Yellowstone. Okay, I have not seen a single episode of Yellowstone. I heard it was good, but I have not seen any of it. So I went to see Drop, and I saw that Brandon Skellner, something like that. It's got an L in there, so it's hard to say. I don't know. I'm just going to say Skellner. Anyway, I saw he was in it, and I thought he had an interesting look, even though I hated his costume in Drop. I thought it was inappropriate for that kind of restaurant. But I liked his look. I thought he was cool. And then I saw that he was in 1923 and he was a cowboy. I'm like, oh my God, that's like the perfect role for his look. So I decided to go and watch it. And after the first season, I was hooked. I thought the first season was absolutely amazing. I know that they're spending, I don't know, $15, $16 million an episode for these things. It's just a scary amount of money that they're spending per episode on this. But this is written and created by Taylor Sheridan. So Taylor Sheridan is actually an actor. He came from his acting background and then moved into writing and producing as well. So he produces his own stuff because he's basically a showrunner, and that automatically makes him a producer. So, but on the other side of the coin, he's done some films as well. So the guy has a huge, this guy's got to be rich as shit, man. He's created some massive, massive shows. Let's talk about the films first. So he did Sicario and the second Sicario. Wind River, which is, I love Wind River. I think that's great. That's with Elizabeth Olsen. And then he did Hell or High Water, which is highly respected as far as a film is concerned. Then as far as television shows are concerned, he also did Those Who Wish Me Dead as well, which was only so-so. But anyway, he did, I think he created Yellowstone. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, Yellowstone. He created Yellowstone. Then he did 1883 and now 1923, which are all connected, right? But then he also did The Mayor of Kingstown, Tulsa King, Lioness, which has Nicole Kidman in a television show, along with Zoe, who played from Guardians of the Galaxy. Landman, the guy's got one hit after another, and, they all have to do with corruption and, the creation of something, whether, some kind of a city or landmass or whatever. So this, falls along the 1883, which I have not seen, and then builds up to this with the same cast. And then, of course, it leads into Yellowstone because it's the same piece of land. It's the same ranch, basically. Again, I have not seen Yellowstone, so I'm only, generalizing what I do know. All right, but amazing. And then, he's gotten these huge actors to do television shows, which is amazing. For Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren to be in this, they got to be a very big portion of the cost of this show. But also, it's a period piece. So they have to do all the old cars, they have to create the town, they have to do a lot of horse riding, all the rest of the stuff. I'm not sure exactly where it's shot. We start out in the beginning with the introduction, to the ranch and to his hired hands, which is also his family. And then we jump Sklenar. Sklenar. It's just that L is in a weird space, man. But anyway, we start out with this feud. He's raising cattle, meaning Harrison Ford, and his family that are on the Yellowstone property. They're the Duttons. And then you have Banner Creighton, who is running sheep. And they're already at odds with one another because there's not a whole lot of grass for them, all of this livestock to graze on. And Banner keeps going into lands that are not his and eating up the grass and then leaving the other livestock that the owners of the land are to die or to starve because they've eaten it all up. So he's kind of breaking the law and then hiding and the whole bit, and that turns into a big to-do where we have this war going on. Meanwhile, you have Timothy Dalton, of all people. Timothy Dalton playing the guy who is the rich man coming into the town to try to take it over. And he wants to create a ski resort. But he's masochistic, or he's not masochistic, he's sadistic. He is sadistic. And he's really, really a bad guy. So Banner ends up having these two hookers, basic prostitutes, and he teaches one to be as sadistic as him, to beat up on the other one. And, she turns into basically his protege. Very strange stuff. Some of that stuff was hard to watch, I gotta say. Then you have this whole before that, we switch into Africa. So we jump all the way to Africa where we meet Spencer. But at the time, I thought it was a flashback of maybe Harrison Ford younger or something to that effect. I didn't really know who the character was. And then I generally, it starts to build him out as he had a falling out with the family after the war, because he was part of the war, meaning World War I, because it's 1923. So the First World War would have been in 1910 or something to that effect. So he's coming back from like PTSD, and he becomes a hunter for the British, hunting basically lions and stuff like that are, eating up their people. And then you have this third storyline of this Indian girl who is stuck with other Indian girls in this religious school, this Catholic school, where they're constantly being beaten. So there's a lot of beating going on here. And she eventually escapes. And I thought that eventually she would meet up with the Duttons or whatever. But that storyline runs independent of everything else. It makes absolutely no sense why the storyline even exists. But in the second season, we get to meet Jennifer Carpenter, who becomes part of that. And Sebastian Roche, he plays Father Renault. He's from the originals. So I was talking with my buddy from who directed Vampire Diaries and the originals and all that stuff. And he was saying that he was a really nice guy. And, because obviously he had worked with him. But then we have this other couple, which is Jack and Elizabeth. And she is from the city. And I think it's Boston or whatever. and she's trying to get used to the the ranch life. So that's the whole first season, is the start of the battle, the introduction to Spencer, but then we get introduced to Alex, okay? And Alex is a countess, right? But Spencer doesn't know that. But they have this connection. They really don't talk much, but they have this connection, and he starts to leave, and she decides that she doesn't want to be engaged to the prick that she ends up being engaged to, because she's kind of being forced into this marriage, and she ends up just leaving and running in and being an adventure with him. They steal the show. Anytime that Alex and Spencer are not on the screen, the show is lesser for it. They carry the show, as far as I'm concerned. They carry it. You also have Robert Patrick, that's the sheriff. But here's my problem with the show. Like, the first season had me hooked. I loved all this stuff. So they're going into this war. They need Spencer there. Spencer is, could care less about any of it. He's living his own life. But then Alex gets the letters, sees all the letters from Helen Mirren's character, Kara, and they decide they're going to go back, right, to help the family. And that's the first season, okay? There's obviously a lot more to it than that, but that's the 3 beats of the first season. It's definitely worth watching, even though you know those 3 beats ahead of time. And here's my problem with it. So I was completely hooked at the first season. I thought the first season was great. But as the show went on from that point, the writing got worse and worse and worse and worse, to the point where the end was almost unwatchable. And the problem was that I thought that Spencer was going to get back, like right in the beginning of the season, and then we were going to see this whole thing between him and Timothy Dalton. But it's not. The whole season is about him getting back from Africa with Alex to Montana, which is where Yellowstone is. The whole season. The entire season. And then, on top of that, they split them up. They split them up. Right in the beginning of the second season. So Spencer and Alex aren't even together. So the spark that they have and the chemistry that they have in all through the end of, or the last second half of the first season is destroyed. The fact that these two were carrying the show on their backs, and then they break them up. And on top of that, everything that can possibly go wrong with everybody in this show. Constantly. Nothing good happens to these people at all. It's always negative, 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 negative all the way through the show. I was like, is this a torture chamber or what is this? So you get us hooked on these characters in the first season, and then all you do is torture them for the whole second season. Nothing good happens. And I got to tell you that up front. Nothing good happens to any of these characters. It's like these guys have the Murphy effect throughout the whole second season, man. Everything that could go wrong does go wrong. Everything. These guys never have a good patch anywhere. So I don't know if Taylor Sheridan just got pulled off the show to do something else, because the second season felt like somebody else had written this damn thing. And I as you can tell, I did not like the second season at all. I thought the first season was great, and the second season was a piece of shit. And then not connecting the Indian girl, Tiona Rainwater, to not connect her to the Duttons in any way, shape, or form. None. She runs her own storyline. Just independently. It's just weird. So I don't know if Taylor Sheridan originally decided that he was going to hook them up and just never did. I don't know. It's just weird. But it was good to see Jennifer Carpenter again. Jennifer Carpenter is from The Exorcism of Emily Rose. If you've never seen that, it's an amazing film. And then she was also in Dexter. She played Dexter's sister. She is looking pretty rough there. She is looking pretty rough after all these years. But she played a good cowgirl, I thought. I thought the cowgirl, she plays a marshal. And of course, they bring up, the other cops are like, I didn't realize there was, female sheriffs. So there is that. But yeah. So I'm just preparing you that if you do watch it, just know that nothing good happens to any of these people. And then it really pushes the envelope of logic a lot of times. Yeah, so I don't know. So the first season, recommend. The second season, I do not recommend. And they can't really continue it. They were saying that Brandon, who plays Spencer, wanted to come back and do another season. There's nothing left to move on. Nothing. In fact, they do close it up, saying what happens to everybody, and and even how Kara, which is Helen Mirren's character, treats Elizabeth at the end. You'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. But how she treats her at the very end is just like a piece of garbage. The writing just is horrible by the end of the second season, just horrible. But I am still a big fan of Brandon Skellner. Skellner. I guess you gotta say it fast. I think if you have read or gone to Audible on my Destiny Aurora books, he would make actually a great Jace Carver. A great Jace Carver. I don't know if I have a picture here. Yeah, I do. So, because Jace is the head of my ship, and I think he could play that role. So, yeah, kind of hoping that he continues on with his career. I think he's pretty talented. I like his look. He's got a very, macho look. And it's funny because a lot of times he's like hunched over a bar or whatever else. But he's got that devil may care attitude. Really, really good, especially for a Western. Damn. And I'd like to see him do sci-fi, see how he would do with that. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. And have you seen it? Are you going to see it? If you are watching it right now, let me know what you think. Are you disappointed with how the second season ended? I know I am. Disappointment to the 9th degree. And you'll know what I'm talking about, too, if you watch it. All right? I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great week.